something that is so often seen in the spiritual and the personal development industry, and that is complete BS. And it's just like roar. I actually recorded a shorter version of this on my Instagram, even though there's nowhere to record. And I was there in the kitchen at a center, and it's like echoing. I'm like, I don't care that the noise is crap, because this is something that really needs to change. It's a BS trap that so many people fall into. I've fallen into it, and I don't want you to fall into it. So this is why I'm making this video. So what is that BS trap that is all over personal development and spirituality? Let's get right to it to never fall into it again. Okay, this is a personal one because it frustrates me. I recently heard an incredible leader, a huge name, speak about similar topic, and it happened to be something that I recorded a talk on just a few days prior, and it keeps coming up. It keeps coming up in the collective, the importance of this. So in the last 2-3 months, I have not been on here a lot. I have been actually, after years of being so consistent with YouTube, I have just been skipping weeks because the message did not feel authentic. There was something new coming through, and instead of going through, it's like, no, let's just record. Let's just put a video out there. If it's not in my integrity, I gave myself permission to not do it, even though I take so much pride in my consistency. Because if the message is not quite fine-tuned, like it doesn't, I'm not quite there yet, I'm not got a good voice for it, and I honor that, and I respect the timing of it, of whatever moves through me. And so I waited until today. Like I said, I was in this place of like being in a community center where I do volunteering there, and I'm like, there's nowhere to record and there are people everywhere, but I just need to find a little corner so that I can speak this, because this is so important. The BS story that, as I mentioned, over the last 3-4 months, a lot of my work, a lot of the message was actually turning around completely towards pleasure, fulfillment, bliss, alignment, that those are the frequencies that will get you to where you want to go. And the biggest BS story, there are a lot, but one of the biggest BS stories that I see in spirituality and personal development is you got to push through. There's no growth in comfort. You got to work hard to play hard. And this is something, by the way, that I'm addressing in an upcoming free event. All these like collective beliefs that we have running the show that we haven't even agreed to. Like, there are so many of these contracts that are trespassing our boundaries, and we just go along with it because we don't actually ask, wait, is it working for me? Is my boundary being trespassed? Because I never even thought of it. And so some of these things that are guiding us, oh, that's just how life is, that we picked up from society, from ancestors. And how do we release that? How do we remove that? A free 3-day event. There's a link below in the description if you want to sign up for that, because I'm so passionate about that. Removing those things that we haven't consciously agreed to, and yet it is absolutely running our subconscious every single day. So we want to clear those things up so we can live our best lives, the lives that we actually choose, that we want to live. So a big part of that was going more into pleasure, more into receptivity. And what happens, what I see a lot in spirituality and personal growth is this, oh, well, you're just not, this is your block. This is something you have to work on. Oh, you feel resistance? Well, it's really good for you, but it just, if you feel resistance, that means there's something there for you to really dig deep. A huge name, I just recently listened to their talk, and they spoke about how they fell into that trap. And this is a huge name, someone who's been in this industry for years, like 2 decades. And they spoke about how they fell into this trap as they were in a relationship, and their partner would say, oh, you're just not surrendered enough. And that was the manipulation for years and years, using all these spiritual terms to manipulate the person. And as they're like, I'm not sure, it's not quite right, and they talking them into it, or going into how they're not spiritual enough, or like, oh, their feminine aspect is not developed enough, or or so your masculine is not strong enough, like all of these things, all the not enoughness. And that's what I want to address here, that a lot of the spirituality and personal development that we see nowadays, because it's not bad in itself, like the foundation, but because it's being taught by a lot of people who are not embodying it, who you can say, I've been meditating for 10 years every single day, and yet you lose your shit in, everyday situations, or when someone cuts you off on the road. It's not embodied. And don't get me wrong, it's great that that meditation's there. Like, okay, after the shit show experience, you can calm yourself and you can come into a meditative state. That's not unimportant. It is. But are you in the place of, and that is something to be taught, to people who have no ability to do that. But is this person a good example, or like a good teacher to teach how to not lose themselves in a situation right there and then? Probably not. Although they may be great at teaching how do I come back to my center after all of that. So it's not to say don't share your message unless you got it all together. Don't teach anything. Like, you have no business doing anything unless it's perfect. Absolutely not. And that's an ongoing journey. Our messages also shift, right? And different things help us at different times of our lives. It's absolutely valid. And it's also true that a lot of people without the embodiment, they're just going around giving advice. And that's kind of how you know that it's off, because they're giving advice rather than guiding the person to themselves. Okay. And there is, teaching aspects. There's like, I teach. There are a lot of times that I do hold space for the client because they know they have all the answers, and I'm teaching them how to tune into that aspect of themselves, because I'm not always going to be there. I don't want them to be dependent on me. Like, oh, I need a session with Anna because I'm losing my shit. It's like, learn the tools of how do you come into you. There's also teaching with that though. And some of the modalities are some of the ways to shift the mind, some of the ways to work with the inner critic is a huge part of what I do. And yet there's still the filter of the person. What are you hearing me say? How's that landing for you? What does this mean to you? The good teacher will always bring you back to you. And with that, the importance of listening to you is that energy that is demanding of you, saying, you're not surrendered enough. Is it demanding your surrender or self-abandonment? Because surrender is natural. It's natural. It doesn't need to be demanded of you. I feel really safe, right? I witnessed this beautiful flower coming out of my house one time. It was a rainy day, and I just saw this flower the night before, and it was so beautiful and open. And that morning it was a rainy day, so the flower closed because it was rainy. And so there's no nourishment, and it can, doesn't want water inside there. So it naturally closes. Nature has it set up that way. Nature has you set up that way too. And so you don't need to rip yourself open on a rainy day. It's like, no, this is not safe. You know. So the ripping apart happens with self-abandonment. And a lot of the industry is built on, well, there's no growth in comfort. Yeah, it's okay that you're uncomfortable, but like, overcome this. And don't get me wrong, you absolutely get the nice dopamine hit when you do that. Boom, I overcame. But the thing with that is that usually you take 2 steps back and like 2 steps forward and like 5 steps back. Because there's like, whoa, I did that, but either, okay, now I'm uncomfortable, or there's the vulnerability hangover, or just that, the integration detox that you need to do after that because it's just too much. And so you end up sometimes being either back where you were, or even worse off than you were. But with like, oh, that's possible new realizations, which again, sometimes hold us even more back. It's like, wait, I was there. Why am I back here now? And that creates this dissonance that is sometimes difficult to get out of. So a lot of what we see is actually not enoughness wrapped up in this beautiful wrapping of spirituality and personal development. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I want you to expand and like deepen into your capacity to feel good and to know that you are worthy. You don't need to prove yourself, because this is what a lot of is just like, something doesn't feel right. It's like, oh, well, just, it's your block. What if this is just not right for me? It's like, no, you got to work through it. Like the good things, you have to work really hard for them. What if you come out of that story? What if instead, and this is again what we're going to be doing in the free 3-day event coming up, so the information's down below. This is what we do because we're so programmed with this, like, oh yeah, work hard to play hard, right? Things don't come easy, right? I gotta work really hard for this. What if you get to play really hard? I'm sure we've all had those moments when other people are like, whoa, that was so much work. And they're like, oh yeah, I guess a lot of things were done, but that was like really fun. Like, yes, there was doing involved, but it's a delicious kind of doing. Even some of those things that like, like, I don't know, you're starting your business and it's like, oh, okay, I have to open the bank account or I have to figure out how the tax stuff works. All of these things, like, those things don't really sound fun, right? But they end up being, because you're carried by that vision, like, oh my God, that business, and I see it like a year from now and I want to celebrate that, like, whoa, it's been a year. And as you focus on that vision, all these things end up being fun. What if you allow that? What if you trust your pleasure? What if you trust your bliss instead of proving your worthiness? When did it go so wrong that we believe that, oh, if it feels wrong, I just have to push harder? If it feels unsafe, I just have to stay here until I train myself. Like, there's something wrong with me if I feel that this is not safe. I have to train myself to feel safe in an unsafe situation or in unsafe energies and frequencies. No. There's a beautiful quote that is, it is no sign of good health to be well adapted to a profoundly sick society. And I want to take this quote and apply it to day to day. There's no pride in being well adapted to a toxic environment or to a place that contributes to your closure, like the fight or flight in your body. Like, oh, I know it so well. I'm just like, I'm able to sit through it. There's no pride in that. How about you turn into, I allow more bliss. I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm not going to tolerate the lower frequencies. I'm worthy of better right now, not when, not at some point, right now. And I trust God, light, source, conscious moving through me, that if I'm like that flower and it doesn't feel safe, I close, and I have the right to close. I trust my instincts. I trust my ability to receive pleasure, to feel good. And when something does not feel safe, I trust my closure. And when something does, I trust my openness. And this is really the muscle that actually needs to be built. And this is what we do in Thrive in the monthly membership. We actually had a whole 3 months dedicated to just that. And we're going to make a second round of this. Your work, people are like, overcome these blocks. The work is actually opening up to pleasure. It's not fighting. It's not focusing on the frequencies that aren't working. It's expanding your capacity to actually feel good. It sounds ridiculous. And yet, feeling good is like training a muscle. Just like lifting a weight. You can't lift a weight of abundance, of love or joy if you've never trained that muscle. And our society absolutely teaches us out of our strength, out of that. It doesn't build our strength to expand our capacity, our wholeheartedness. It does the opposite. So that is something that has to be done consciously. Bring that to awareness. Where is it that you're still there proving yourself? Where is it that you're going into, you got to work hard to play hard, and you're just running on the dopamine hits instead of just surrendering in the well-being, in the pleasure, allowing that to lead you, trusting your openness and learning how to consciously expand that, and also trusting your closures and honoring them. We so often ask, guide me, Jesus, take the wheel. Our closures are part of that. Our openness, our excitements are part of that. But we don't listen to it. We're not trained to. And there are tools to overcome this, to make your inner critic your ally, because it's the inner critic that stands in the way of that. So there are absolutely tools to do that. And this is what I do in my one-on-one work with clients. This is what we do in Thrive. That is, at a much lower price point, and like weekly calls there that we have to support that and to keep up this energetic hygiene and for that frequency to be high, because this is constant attunement. But once we're devoted to that, it's absolutely incredible how many, I call them manifestation mic drops. You just keep observing, because everything becomes easy when you actually open up to that pleasure. And you go against what they teach you. That, like, again, work hard to play hard. Okay? They go into self-abandonment. They encourage you to go into self-abandonment rather than surrender, calling it surrender. So, I want to hear from you. What are you hearing me say? Let me know down below in the comments. And again, in the description, free 3-day event to be done with all these programs, with all these stories that are not even your own, that you didn't even agree to. So we're going to bring those up to the surface, the ones that are holding you back. And we're going to raise up the frequency to tune into what you do want. Because again, my work shifted significantly over the last few months, focusing so much more on pleasure, the audacity to live that, the well-being, the bliss, allowing that to be the guiding force. And I want the same for you. So down below in the description, sign up, save your spot, and let me know in the comments what landed. On this note, I thank you so much for being here. I thank you for being a beautiful light in this world. And until next time.